They told me wealth was about grinding. They told me saving was the key. They told me debt was dangerous, renting was wasteful, and the stock market was safe. But after studying thousands of deals, reading over 100 books, and preparing to risk $100,000 of my own money, I realized most of what I believed about wealth was a lie. Not a mistake, a lie. A story sold to the middle class to keep them busy, obedient, and broke. So in this bonus episode, I'm exposing the 5 biggest wealth lies I had to unlearn before I spent a single dollar of my $100K. Because if I didn't remove these from my system first, no amount of money would have saved me from failure. Let's get into it. Hash 1. You need to work hard to get rich. This lie is the most common and the most seductive. The idea is simple. Work hard. Work long. And eventually, success will find you. But let me ask you this. Have you ever met someone who worked 2 jobs, 60+ hours a week, and was still broke? I have. I grew up around them. They weren't lazy. They weren't stupid. They just bought the wrong system. Hard work is noble, but it doesn't scale. Wealth doesn't come from hustle. It comes from leverage. Leverage of capital, leverage of systems, leverage of people, leverage of content. The people who get rich are the ones who stop trading time for money and start building machines that print income, even when they sleep. I had to unlearn the guilt of not working enough. Because real wealth, it's quiet. It's strategic. And it's scalable. So I stopped chasing hustle and started chasing systems. Lie hash 2, debt is bad. This one was personal. I grew up hearing phrases like, don't owe anyone. Cut up your credit card. Never borrow what you can't pay in cash. And for consumer debt, that's true. But when I studied wealthy investors, I noticed something strange. They love debt. Why? Because they weren't using debt to buy liabilities. They were using debt to buy assets. Real estate. Cash-flowing businesses. High-return deals. They weren't going into debt. They were building leverage. Good debt is like a business partner that never asks for equity. It funds your growth. It boosts your ROI. And it lets you control assets worth 5-10x your actual cash. The difference. They use productive debt, not consumer debt. And they control it. They don't let it control them. That's why I studied how to safely use mortgages, HELOCs, business credit, and creative financing. Because if I wanted to turn $100K into wealth, I had to stop fearing the very tool the wealthy use to win. Lie hash 3, buy a house as soon as you can. This lie costs people more money than they realize, because it sounds smart. Stop renting. Build equity. Pride of ownership. But here's the thing. Your primary home is not an asset. It doesn't pay you every month. It drains your cash flow. It locks you into a location. It reduces your flexibility. And for most people, it slows down wealth, especially early on. I decided not to buy my own home first. Instead, I'm buying income-producing property. Because I want assets that pay me later, when those properties generate $3K, $5K/month in passive income, then I'll buy a house. But I'll let the assets pay for the liabilities, not my paycheck. That mindset shift is everything. Lie hash 4, saving is the key to wealth. This one hurts because it's what we're taught from childhood. Save your allowance. Put it in the bank. Be responsible. But guess what? You can't save your way to wealth. Inflation eats your savings. Taxes bite into your returns. And the bank pays you 0.01% interest. Meanwhile, assets are doubling in value every 5-10 years. The wealthy don't save. They allocate. They use their money as a tool, not a security blanket. They invest in real estate, private equity, index funds, cash-flowing businesses, personal development. Because capital sitting still is capital dying. So I stopped thinking like a saver and started thinking like a capital allocator. Every dollar I have now is assigned a job. It either grows, cash flows, or protects. But it never sits idle. That's the shift. Lie hash 5. Diversification is always safe. We've all heard it. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. But the people who get rich, they usually do. Because concentration builds wealth. Diversification protects it. If you look at how wealth was built, Elon Musk went all in on Tesla and SpaceX. Warren Buffett concentrated into insurance and banking. Real estate moguls buy dozens of properties in one region. They didn't do 1% in this and 2% in that. They went deep. They learned. They committed. Focus builds mastery. I'm not saying you should be reckless, but spreading $100K into 25 different mediocre things, that's a recipe for slow growth and diluted impact. Instead, I'm going all in on one asset class, real estate, because I've studied it. I trust it. And I'm building systems to win. Once that system works, I'll diversify the cash flow. But not until the machine is humming. Bonus lie. Education guarantees success. This one stung. I spent years in the education system. I even enrolled in a doctoral program. And what I realized? Most education teaches obedience, not outcomes. You graduate with knowledge, but no leverage, no capital, no scalable skills. The best school I found? The $100,000 I'm about to invest, because money is the best teacher. When your skin's in the game, you learn faster. So I dropped out of the classroom and into the market. That's where real education begins. So what do I believe now? Leverage beats labor. Assets first, house later. Money should work, not sit. Focus builds momentum. Real learning is paid, not taught. And that's the mindset behind every decision I make in this series. Because I'm not just risking $100K. I'm building a new identity. Not as a follower, but as a strategist. Comment below. Which lie did you grow up believing? And what's one belief you're replacing it with today? Affiliate book of the day, The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel. Subscribe now and follow every move of this $100K transformation. Next, I reveal the actual offer I'm preparing to make on a real deal. Numbers, terms, risks, and strategy. This is Dropout Investor, where beliefs change first and wealth follows after.